Hey, Jen.
Hi, how's it going, Robin?
Hey. All right.
Uh,
So you want to, I'm reading your question sort of. Do you want to just for the audience tell everyone
oh,
what?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest question is right now we have kind of a small list. Like the past year, like the first year in 2019 was kind of building everything. So, building the website, building all the funnels, building all that stuff. So, we did very little actual prospecting. So, I'm talking like 15, 30 new names every month, basically, because I'm trying to do this in addition to other stuff in the business. Um, Doing the calls and all that kind of stuff. And I've built up to about 6 campaigns that we're running currently. So Godfather, Poker Chip, Sitting Duck, Aspirin, Closer Look, and
Oh,
Worry
good
Doll.
Lord.
And I'm
You are
yeah.
overcomplicating.
So
Yes.
they're running through on a 90-day cycle. I
Okay.
am mailing, calling, and everything. Something's going out every week. But I'm
Okay.
wondering, am I doing too much and should just scale back to doing maybe 2 campaigns and doing more of the prospecting, getting more people in the funnel?
Okay. So what I want you to do is take one of those campaigns, whichever one you like and that works for you the best, and just keep drill into that to really make it great. So if, like, for example, make sure you're making the calls, doing the LinkedIn, cleaning the, like, really go deep on one of them, right? And then crank that thing until you build a list of about 3,000, 4,000 prospects. And it's going to
Okay.
take you some time because you're going to
Yeah.
get a list, you're going to have to clean it. After you call and market to it, you're going to find there's a lot of garbage, things that are no
Mm-hmm.
good, all of those things, right? So I want you to do that. And then every 6 to 8 months, I want you to run them through another aspirin campaign, aspirin Godfather type campaign, but wait at least 6 to 8 months before you put them through another campaign. In between that, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to do weekly email drip campaigns, or at least every other week, like a blog post or something.
Okay.
I want you to mail something like a tech tip postcard or a newsletter every
Yeah.
month.
We have our monthly newsletter that I send out for print.
Okay.
And then the people that I do reach, because I reach about 10% of the decision makers, but that's after about 12 calls. So it may be 2 or 3 months before I actually get through to that decision maker. If they say they're not interested just yet, I ask them, do you mind if I add you to my print newsletter list? Most of the time they say yeah. So I'm slowly building that up. So that's been helpful. I was just unsure about adding those types of people to the tech tip, or I'm sorry, the security tips. We do that on a weekly basis. We have that running for our customers, but I haven't added any prospects to that type of a campaign because I thought that would be more of an opted in type thing.
It is. I mean, and when you're prospecting, you can ask them instead of print, you could say, we do a weekly security tip email. There's
Yep.
nothing to sell in it. It's purely, would you like us to add you to our
Okay.
newsletter, something to that effect. People don't get too mad about the print. I don't think you got to ask them, can I send you a print newsletter? Because
Okay. So just that default, add them to that.
yeah, I think you can just add them to that. If they want to be off the list, they'll let you know. People aren't that sensitive about getting direct mail. Where they get angry if you email them without permission. Where they really get angry is if you text them without permission. That's where they lose their shit when that happens. So I'd say, use the Closer Look campaign, crank through that puppy to build your list, and then do these in between. If you want another campaign in between Closer Look or Aspirin in that 6 to 8 period, that's not
Mm-hmm.
drip, you could do a webinar, you could do
Yeah,
some
and I
sort of,
just actually did one. I did email security.
okay,
So that one went well. And I was also able to reuse some of that content in a similar, like a JV with a Better Business Bureau that's in
perfect.
our area. So I've been trying to do slowly build stuff and build leads coming in, which, has increased a little bit with website, but it's slow.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but the good news is you're planting a lot of seeds, and I think you're on the right track. I mean, I would simplify it a little bit where I wouldn't keep switching a campaign and
Yeah.
resending. Allow six, especially because when you're sending, it would Mike Stodola, I keep giving Mike the stud Stodola. He had a really good, but he had a good analogy. It would be like if you're at a restaurant and you sat down at the restaurant and the waitress comes up to you and says, or waiter comes up and says, would you like an appetizer? And you say, no, thanks. And then, like, they go away and they come back like a minute, two later go, would you guys like an appetizer? And you're like, no, thanks, and so like when you constantly go back with the same, do you want to outsource your IT? With that message, it gets irritating if it's too close. So that's why I'm
Okay.
saying give 6 to 8 months be in between sending out like an aspirin or a closer look type campaign. Now, when you go back to that restaurant, it's perfectly acceptable for them to ask you that question again. But
Got it.
so I would just say, instead of switching the campaigns up too much, just give 6 to 8 months. And then in between, if you want to do a webinar or a new free report, it's different enough where they don't feel like you're like, hey, do you want to outsource your IT support? They say no thanks. But then, a month or two later, you're inviting them to a webinar on the top 10 cybersecurity protections you need to have in place or something to that effect. It doesn't feel like it's the same pitch, and therefore people won't get upset.
Okay. That I think will make my life a lot easier. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you got it. Thanks, Jen. See, Debbie, that's like, normally my superpower is making work for people. So the fact I just simplified her life should be memorialized.
Absolutely.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing all of this, at once. Kudos to you.
I'd rather do that than
An
nothing.
overachiever, but I feel like I need to simplify it to get more traction. Like definitely getting more leads coming in or more prospects, I think will help us close more deals.
You got it. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.